Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. It's me, GhostCritic. It's Thursday, at least I'm filming this on a Thursday, so it's got to be a comic review show. What a interesting stack this week. Let's kick off straight away, no messing about. The Infernal Mounting issue 2 of 3. Now, I don't remember actually reviewing the first one. It could have been my internet absence week, so I didn't really get to talk about this very much. For those who've not heard about this, this is basically a sequel to Gerber's 1970s story, Song Cry of the Living Dead Man. And it was... I think they're doing it as like it's a lost story, because this is something that Gerber went back to in the 80s, but it never saw the light of day until now. I think there's a reason that it hasn't been put out till now, and I'm almost thinking, did they really need to bother? It's crazy. It's psychedelic acid trip nonsense, following Brian Lazarus again, who's completely flipped his lid and is hallucinating all kinds of things, from being the captain of the Starship Enterprise in a Captain Kirk kind of role, which leads to our Man-Thing in his own little Star Trek suit. And then like a Vietnam in the middle of the jungle adventure story. It's all very, very strange, and all through it there's like this kind of tiny kind of stick plant thing talking to him, which you kind of gather from this issue is actually a woman. It's female, which I didn't really get in the first issue. It's all mental. I would honestly say this is only worth picking up because it does reprint the original story. So if you haven't read that, that is definitely worth a look at. The artwork is not my cup of tea. The covers, these covers, and that's issue 1 by Arthur Adams. Great, this is the Man-Thing I know, this is the Man-Thing I love. But inside it's a completely different story. It's very computer generated, very washed out colouring, not really anything to get excited over, and Man-Thing looks nothing like he really should. So unless you're a big fan of the Man-Thing, then you just can't say Man-Thing without you people being dirty. I know what's going on in your minds. I'm moving on very quickly. Pick it up. I wouldn't highly recommend it, but whatever. Let's begin again. Fables, issue 119, and after the very, very creepy last issue, this becomes even more disturbing. We've got our tiger, who was looking after Darian, but has been caught by our toys, our broken down, run down toys, and he's being put on trial with Teresa, with a decision on saving his life. The ending of this trial is very bloody, it's very grim. I know Teresa's hungry, but really? Darian as well, he kind of recovers from falling down the cliff, and he's starting to put kind of little clues together. It's so cleverly done. I was really, really worried about the beginning of this story arc and didn't think it was going to go anywhere. But as of last issue, and certainly with this one, it's picked up tremendously. Always a firm favourite, near the top of my pile. Great stuff by Willingham and Buckingham on art. So yeah, go pick it up. It's very disturbing though. Issue 15 of Daredevil, and we saw from the last issue the scientists of Latveria under Doctor Doom have filled Matt Murdock's body with nanobots that have essentially shut down all of his senses. So not only does he not have his highly attuned extrasensory perception, he doesn't even have our normal kind of Joe Bloggs now. He's totally blind. He can't feel anything. And obviously, and at the beginning of this, he has been caught again. He's in the hospital. They're keeping him drugged. It was a strange issue, this. I'm usually so excited about Daredevil, and I think with this issue, what made it less so, and I don't know why I didn't notice it so much in the last issue, because there's no different a creative team on this, but the artwork, especially towards the end, felt very clunky. I think it's more to do with the inking and the colour palette for certain characters. They didn't fit well with me. I felt it very jarring as I was trying to read it. The story is very, very good, as always, by Mark Waid. But I don't know, Rodriguez's colouring, whoever's doing the inking on this, it let the book down a little bit. I mean, however, the story is brilliant. The Daredevil is about to be experimented on. They want to know about all his kind of radar sense and such. But in the nick of time, there's an escape. Will he manage to escape this time? You have to read this issue. I still recommend anyone who hasn't been picking up this new series of Daredevil to go out and do so, because it is a breath of fresh air for Daredevil, although it does hint at Matt Murdock is still kind of holding down those very dark thoughts, and especially given what he has been through previous to this new series, there are little kind of hints. Things are not as perky and fresh and Silver Agey as we have been feeling with this title. Still, pick it up. Oh, everyone's favourite is Justice League. It's issue 11. I'm sorry, I'm not going to drop it. I'm having fun with it. The story is just okay. It's a no-brainer. It's just like switch it off. But I don't know, I'm entertained by it. The artwork is pretty. What more do you need? We left off issue 10 with Graves having apparently beaten our Justice League, having them face all their darkest fears and feeding off their miseries. But Batman, yes, it's always Batman, good old Batman, he pushes through, he pushes that darkness, that misery down and breaks free of Graves' grip and makes sure everyone else is fine too. Johns is basically using every kind of trick in the book, this is them fighting each other. It's one of those issues, and while they can be fun, we have seen them over and over again. In this instance, Wonder Woman goes absolutely crazy because this is the point where they all find out that Steve Trevor has been held hostage by Graves and could potentially be dead by now. So she goes absolutely crazy because it's essentially her fault. She feels that she's put him in the most danger and wants to go off and do it all herself. You know, as these characters do, they think they don't need any help. and she fights against the rest of the team, who, you know, they're pulling together. Most of the team are coming together. It was a surprise to see the characterisation of Green Lantern come out, that, you know, he wants this team to work. He feels, I mean, there's a point in it where he goes, you know, Wonder Woman is like, I'm sick of you making jokes about everything all the time, and you know, you're not serious about all this. Why would I need your help? And he's like, well, this basically is a breeze in the park for me. This is like a holiday compared to what I actually have to do in like the Green Lantern Corps. And it was interesting to see him, you know, kind of man up. So I like that, the kind of switch, because Green Lantern has been portrayed as a bit stupid, a bit vain, which he can be. We all have different traits that we show here and maybe not, you know, later on. It makes us the people we are. But yeah, they end up going to, is it the Valley of Souls, is it? Yes, Valley of Souls, because this is where Graves has gone, this is where his dead family are, and the team get there, and it's like, is it too late to save Steve? You'll only find out if you read it. I like it. I'm sorry. Batwoman, I should say, issue 11, and everything gets rounded up. All the storylines come to a head, and by the end of it, Batwoman, our Kate, and her girlfriend Maggie share a few secrets to come a little bit closer. I would say this story will probably read better as a trade. There will not be those kind of month gaps of waiting for the next issue and then trying to pick up the various different timelines that have been running concurrently through every issue. So in that respect, if you haven't been picking up Batwoman, I'd suggest waiting for the trade, especially for this story arc. But it's still been, you know, really good ride, and there's been a hint at the end of a new villain. I don't know this, is it Myteria? But she seems to have a green scaly hand, and that's all we see. The artwork is nice. It's not our first story arc, Williams III art, but there is still those funky, weird panelling which are fun to look at and make the page more interesting and kind of pops out. But I'm looking forward to Williams getting back on writing and art. Let's hope this is very soon. Recommended. 2 more comics to go. And you may be surprised that this isn't my pick of the week. But, you know, it certainly wasn't bad. Saga, issue 5. And how can you not fall in love with a comic that, again, first page, we're in a toilet. We have a man sat on the toilet and he's got a TV for a head. Yes, that's our first full page splash. It's just, it puts a big smile and just makes you giggle, really does. There are kind of almost 3 concurrent stories going through here. We have at the beginning our TV head guy. He's on the toilet and he gets a call from his, is it wife, is it girlfriend? She's preggers. She's up the duff. Which he is jubilant about, but apparently her father's not so much, and he's not allowed to come home until he's found our 2 runaways, which is Marco and I always forget her name. Is it Alana? That's kind of bad, but you know, our little trio of heroes, and they are up against a kind of army group that are there to capture them, but Marco makes short work of them, and there is this strange moment, you know, that I think Mark's something that's going to happen, or something potentially could happen if Marco goes too far with the kind of violence, which I've got a feeling is going to get picked up later on, because I'll call her Alana. I can't even remember if it is her name. She stops him before he's about to, you know, make that final blow with his sword, and it does. There's something there that if he kills someone, something bad is going to happen, or something that shouldn't happen will happen. So that's an interesting thought, just to keep in the back of my head and your head too. The other story that's going, we go back to the Will, and he's trying to escape from Sextillion, where the little girl that he's saved from the sleazy pimp guy from last issue. But he's stopped before he gets there by just another deliciously crazy created imaginative character from both Vaughan and Staples. And then there was that last scene, wasn't there, boys and girls? I will not spoil the ending, but I'm like, no, don't do that. Not yet anyway. But they did. And you have to read it to find out. Saga has always been great. I did think with this, I read this very quickly, and I think that was the one reason why it didn't make pick of the week this week. There wasn't a lot to read. It was still gorgeous to look at. Fiona Staples' artwork is beautiful as always. I love the fact that, you know, they're on these snowy mountains and everything is crisp and clean and very bright. She realised, Fiona Staples has this ability to, you know, use colouring and lighting dependent on the environment, and not a lot of artists that I look at realise this. So we'll just do a colour palette for whatever day, whatever night, whatever environment they're in. But top notch with Fiona Staples. But yes, over too quickly, read too quickly this week, this month, which is why it didn't make the top spot. What did? And this is my opinion. Don't know, I don't think a lot of you are reading it. You should be, because it's a damn fine book from Vertigo. It's The Unwritten. It's issue 39. And the reason I made this pick of the week, Mike Carey is just a phenomenal storyteller, writer. He's just amazing. He forgets nothing that he's told us in previous issues, and I'm not talking like in the last year. I'm talking about when this series first started, and the explanation for one of my favourite characters throughout on this, and that's Paulie Bruckner, the White Rabbit, the one with the really filthy mouth. If you read this, you will know the character, and I'm sure you are as much as in love with him as I am. He's just a phenomenally funny character. You find out who he is, how he's connected to both Wilson Taylor and Tommy Taylor, and that for me just made this perfect. Yes, we've got the story going on with the cult of Tommy. We learn a lot more from that. There's this kind of mystical hand that's in this water. People touch it and they go somewhere. It's still very intriguing, very exciting. But it was just the whole... Nothing Carey does in this comic is wasted. It is always there for a reason. You may have to wait so many issues down the line to find out, but it will be there. Phenomenal issue, so well worth reading. It's only up to issue 39. Pick up the trades, catch up, and make this one of your firm favourites too. And with that, we're over. Thank you for watching as usual. If you are a first time viewer, subscribe up there on the button. Give it a big thumbs up because we like the thumbs up, and put a comment down in the box below. What did you think of this week's comics? I am looking at picking up some new titles. Pay rise has come through. Not great one, but enough to go, might be able to pick up a few more titles. So yeah, look out on Sunday. I will hopefully, fingers crossed, be doing another vlog. There's some news. That's all I'm going to say. So, and I'm telling you, it'll be worth subscribing to my channel if you come and watch. Take care. Bye-bye.